This is a program you can find on the internet called Breeding Gliders in Cellular Automata. It runs on a web page, and it's originally written by Jeffrey Ventrella. I modified his latest version of it here, and I do not have permission to put it on a web page for anyone to upload or anything like that. I have tried to contact him. Hopefully, he'll get a hold of me. I'd love to show him the code for this, give him the code for it. But at any rate, what I've done is to modify the existing code to incorporate a form of simple speciation. And I want to show you how that works. Now, down here at the bottom of the screen, there is a little graph which shows the relative fitness for each individual within the population. Now, the population is actually hidden. What it's a population of is actually cellular automata spaces. Now, for those who don't know what that is, I'd recommend looking it up. It's a fun little piece of research, and you can find the spelling up here at the top. Cellular automata, and that is actually the plural. Cellular automaton is the singular. You probably won't find very many hits on that. And down here in the bottom, we have a list of 75 individuals. Each one initially is given a random fitness level or random fitness number to compare with other cellular automata spaces. Beyond that, you're able to actually affect them. Notice right now there is a little yellow dot above here indicating that this one, the low spot, is the place where this particular cellular automata space, what's running over here on the left, is going to be stored in the population if I go ahead and tell it that it's okay or good. Now, the difference is if I tell it that it's okay, it's going to give it a rating about halfway up this chart, which means it's going to be higher than most of the stuff, but not higher than these ones that spike way up here. If I give it a rating of good, that's going to set it at the highest possible rating, and also slightly decay the ratings of everything else. So I'll show you what I mean here. I'm going to go over to the OK button, and watch where this yellow dot is here. I'm going to click OK. And notice now there's a little bit higher space there than what was there before. Well, quite a bit higher than what was there before. But like I said, it's not really up at the peak. Now, if you look now, it has selected a new place to produce an offspring, and here on the left is one parent number 2, and here on the right is parent number 1, and those are the positions it's taking those parents from, and it has crossbred them to produce the cellular automaton now running in this space. And I'm going to go ahead and mark that one as good. So again, if you watch this number 6 right here, which is very low right now, I'm going to go ahead and click good, and you can see that has set it at a very high fitness level, and now it has started up a new offspring of 2 new parents. Now I want to explain how this simple speciation works. Within this population, basically what I have done is treated this as a sort of combination of a sympatric allopatric speciation. It is everything in here is in the same space, but I'm treating their position on this graph as a sort of distance from each other, how far they have to travel to get to each other, so to speak. And if something is too far away to be able to travel to mate, then they would not be able to produce an offspring, theoretically. And so what I've done is I've set it so that when it goes to produce a new offspring, the first thing it does is to pick a position to put that offspring in within the population. And then the next thing it does is to pick two parents within a given range of that particular offspring's location to produce that offspring, and then to mate those two parents and produce an offspring from them. Now, this particular cellular automata space that's going on right now, you can see it's just kind of a chaotic thing. It's expanding. There isn't really much interesting about it. So I'm going to go down here and pick bad. Now, if you watch this spot underneath the yellow where it's almost at the bottom already, when I click on bad, it's going to select new parents for that same offspring location, and at the same time it has dropped its fitness level down to 0, basically to make sure that the same offspring location is going to be used in this next parenting. And so we can watch this one grow a little bit and decide, is that any better than what I had before? And if I decide no, it's not any better, I'd like to try to get a better reproduction there, a better mating there, I can go ahead and click bad again. And once again, it'll pick a new set of parents. And actually, it looks like it has picked both parents in the same place here. So literally, it's mating something with itself, which I've also modified the program to do a little less often than it would have done otherwise, but it is still possible for it to happen. And this one looks a little bit more interesting. Not a lot, so I'm going to go ahead and just tell it OK. And now it has picked a new offspring. And again, with the new offspring, a new set of parents. And notice again, the parents are picked from a location on the graph near that of the offspring. This modification takes a lot shorter time to get interesting results. I will say, for anybody who has not tried something like this, be ready to be patient, because evolution is a slow process, and even sped up like this in a simulation designed to make evolution happen very quickly, relatively speaking, so that you can actually witness evolution taking place. It's still a slow process, and it takes a lot of generations for small changes to add up. And these cellular automata spaces, of course, it is not as obvious exactly exactly what the characteristics are. It's not as obvious to a human being who's used to the world that we have around us as, say, for example, the difference between a rabbit and a frog. It takes a little getting used to exactly what it is that you're looking for, but the reason why this is named breeding gliders in cellular automata is because there is something that occurs in a cellular automata space called a glider, which is basically a unique structure that is able to break away from the rest of the sort of chaotic stuff going on and sort of walk away, almost as if it is its own little life form. And I notice nothing like that is happening in this particular one. I'm going to go ahead and click bad again. And I'm just trying to pick a new set of parents there. And I'm seeing if I can get a glider to show up so I can show what a glider looks like. And as I said, it does take some time. I have run this one for a while before I went ahead and started the recording, so I can get some gliders out of what I've produced, but it's not going to happen every single time. And let's see, there's a little structure over here. Might possibly be a glider. I'm going to leave the mouse cursor near it just to keep track of where it's at or where it was at. And nope, that one disappeared. See, now this is the thing. This is emergent behavior. As a human being, it is very difficult, if not impossible, to simply look at what's going on in a cellular automata space like this and predict what's going to happen next. Now, that's not to say that it's not predictable. The original starting configuration of dots is random, but the actual behavior is not random at all. It's actually using rules for every single step along the way, which means that evolution, in the sense that we have evolution in biology, can't even happen in here because there's nothing random going on inside of the cellular automata space itself. And notice it appears I do have actually a glider that has come up in this particular cellular automata space. Now, what can evolve in this program, what this program has been designed to evolve, is the rules of the cellular automata space itself. What we're actually doing is creating universes and allowing evolution to fine-tune the universes. So I'm not setting anything to tell it this rule and that rule and whatever else. We're actually letting random changes in the laws of nature, so to speak, in these universes occasionally happen, and breeding of two universes at a time to produce an offspring between them, again randomly picking which genes come from which universe. Like I said, with the occasional mutation. Actually, the mutation rate that I have set right now is at 2%, which means 1 out of every 50 genes to be copied will end up randomized instead of copied. And as you can see, this is a glider of some type. It's very slow, but it's actually walking along on its own, keeping some recognizable shape. A simple life form, if you will. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Good. And that will not only save that, but over here it has also marked it as something with a high level of fitness. In other words, something that has been selected for. In this case, the selection is not natural selection, it's human selection. I'm selecting it with these buttons down here. Good, okay, sorry, bad, okay, or good. In that case, I clicked Good. And here we have this one selected, and this is what it has produced. And again, it appears that it has bred one parent with itself. Now, when there are no mutations that happen when it breeds a parent with itself, it will actually be a clone of the parent. This is a lot like some plant reproduction. Sometimes plants reproduce clonally, and occasionally there is a mutation in spite of that, and you still have evolution that goes on, but it's much slower that way. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK on this one and move on to the next generation. Now these are generations. Well, generation is really not a good word for it, but I don't really have a better word for it. But these are basically generations of cellular automata spaces, not of the stuff growing in the cellular automata space. But notice that while it's producing one new offspring for each generation, if you want to call it that, all of the rest of the cellular automata spaces are basically remaining unchanged. There's a record being kept of the fact that they're aging a little bit each generation, and that aging is basically reducing the fitness. So the longer they've been around, the less likely they'll be to be considered more fit. And this is basically a bit of a way of nudging along progress and saying, this has been around a while, maybe we should try something new. Now here, I think you can see I've got some kind of a glider going on here over in the lower left corner, and another one up here in the upper left corner, it looks like. Now that's kind of attached to other stuff there. It may or may not be able to completely break away. And over here in the center of the screen, or basically the right-hand side of the Cellular Automata area, there's a bit of a blob that has broken away, and I don't know if that's going to become some sort of a glider or disappear or exactly what's going to happen to it. I'll go ahead and read the stuff on the screen here, just in case the resolution is not good enough. Or if somebody's been trying to read it and maybe I haven't kept it still long enough. It says, breed a population of CAs to be closer to Langton's edge of chaos, and gliders will naturally emerge. The edge of chaos basically is where life exists. Explore many different kinds of cellular automata, CA rules, and breed a population of them to become increasingly complex life universes, analogous to Conway's Game of Life. You can breed them such that coherent space-time structures, gliders, emerge. This breeder uses an experimental interface in which evolutionary dynamics goes on in the background, and you simply judge various CAs. As you judge them, the population evolves according to a Darwinian fitness ranking that you affect by your judgments. Created by Jeffrey Ventrella, inspired by Kirk Israel. And down here at the bottom is a little key that says Parent 1, Parent 2, and Offspring. Parent 1 being the little red dot, which as you can see is missing in this case. It's underneath Parent 2, I'm guessing, and then Offspring, which is yellow. Parent 2 is cyan, parent 1 is red, and Offspring is the yellow dot up above the chart. And I'm going to go ahead and click Good. And you can see another tall line has come up here, and it shrunk down the one next to it just a little. Everything got reduced a little bit in fitness in order to show that that one was the most fit at this time by the fact that I marked it as good. Now, it's not always that simple, of course, and in nature it's never that simple, but this is a simple interface just to give people a way to be able to select what crossbreeds to keep and to use in future generations. So I think that's enough of that. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording and post this up on YouTube for people to take a look at. And hopefully Jeffrey Ventrella will see this somewhere along the way. If anybody knows how to contact him, I've lost touch with him as of late, and not sure if he's checking the old email I've got for him or whatever. I have made attempts to contact him. I don't know, maybe he'll eventually get my message, but just in case, if anybody goes to his website and this version with speciation has not been posted, if you'd like it to be, if you know how to get a hold of him, maybe you can let him know, and perhaps he'll find a way to get in touch with me, and I can email a copy of the file to him and let him do what he wants with it. At any rate, thanks for watching. I hope you liked this video. I hope it was both entertaining and informative. Again, this has been highlighting Breeding Gliders in Cellular Automata by Jeffrey Ventrella, modified in this case by myself, Donald Arthur Kronos, to include simple speciation. Thank you.